Hey friends, welcome to TechHarvesting. In today's video, we are going to learn about CSS. And just like my HTML series, this is going to be a series where we're going to learn about CSS. And we'll discuss about what CSS is in the video. And also, we will be making our website, which we made in the HTML series, look prettier and better with the help of CSS. And also, if you have not seen the HTML series, I'll link it down below. Go ahead and watch it. So to get started, I have made this presentation to make you understand about CSS. So let's go to the beginning. There are a few steps that are involved in doing this. So yeah, let's get started. So CSS is a language which helps us to make our websites look much better. So CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and that's the full form of CSS, and we can make websites look much better with it. So I have the small two pictures at the bottom of describing how Google would look with a bit of CSS and with so much more CSS. You can see that the bottom part of the website with Google without CSS looks not so nice, like everything is jumbled up and it's like a mess in there. And in the other picture, if you look, it's like Google has more CSS, so at the top you can see the account and all the other things that are aligned at the top. So that looks much better. So there's something you can do with CSS. Even I cannot actually remove all the CSS from Google for taking the picture. If I did, then it'll look so much like our website because we also do not have any CSS. So there are different ways of writing CSS code, and there are actually three ways. So first one is internal CSS, means we'll create a new tag in our HTML document called the style tag, and we will keep our CSS code inside that style tag, which is also a popular way of doing things. Also, there's external CSS, which is what we're gonna do, and it's the most preferred way because you write everything in a .css extension file, and this CSS code can be accessed from any other HTML file. And I'll also show you how you can do it in different ways. And the last one is the inline CSS. We have actually already done this if you followed my HTML series, because in the website we gave a border radius of the image, so to make it look much better we use CSS in there. If you look at the presentation right here, it has a style attribute, and we did that in our image. And you can also look at the images for internal CSS, and also while we are writing internal CSS, our style tag is inside the head tag, so that our styles are loaded before the whole element, all the elements of the web page are loaded. And the second picture there is the external CSS. You will write it in a CSS file with a .css extension. So this is how we link a style sheet to a HTML web page. So when we start creating these style sheets in different files with CSS extensions, we will have to link them together. Otherwise, the HTML page will not know which CSS file to look for, and it will not render the styles properly. So this is a tag that we're going to learn about. It's called the link tag, and it has two attributes: the rel, which stands for relation, like what kind of link it is. There are different types of links you can give. This is a style sheet, which means it's a CSS style sheet. And the href is like where it's located, so where the style sheet is located. And there you give the name of your style sheet. So in this video, we are just going to have a look at the core basics, means we'll be changing the background and the color of the HTML website that we created. So we can choose whatever color we want. There are different color formats that we have to learn about. So actually, let's get into the code. So yeah, so now we'll be able to see the code. So this is the code that we had written from the last series, our HTML series. If you have not seen it, as I told, go ahead and check it out. And now we are gonna implement CSS onto this web page. So first, let's have a look at inline CSS. So this cannot do much. We have to do a lot of extra things, but we'll get into this first, since it's the easiest way. So you're going to give a style attribute for the body tag, and we have already learned about body tag. If you have not, go ahead and check out the previous series on HTML. So once you give the style attribute just like any other attribute, it's going to have a value. So the value here is going to be background color of some color from there, which came in my suggestions from VS Code. So this is how we write CSS. We'll have a look at the syntax soon. Just write down what you've written in here, and you can right click here and open as a live server. Have already done that, and you can see that the background has updated. Also in VS Code you get this color picker, which makes it much easier to pick colors, so you can maybe go for a lighter color like that, and you can see it updates with the live server. We can also change the way these links look with the help of CSS. So we have now implemented the kind of style called Inline CSS. Means we are specifying the CSS rules inside the HTML file, inside the body or the HTML element that we want the styles to take place on. The other way to do this is using the internal CSS. So I'm just going to get rid of the body styling that we just wrote, and I'm going to keep a body style tag in our HTML head. So the style tag is where we specify the style for our web page, and it's gonna be located on the head of our web page. So make sure you do that, because if you keep it out of the head tag, it's not gonna load. The styles will not be able to load, or it will become much slower to load. So in here, there's this important CSS topic that you have to understand called selectors. Means you're selecting a specific element on our web page. So maybe we want the whole body to become having a background color of this, or maybe we want only the H ones to have a color of black and the other elements to have a color of gray. So we'll have a look at that now. To change the color of the body, or the background color rather, you have to type in body. Oops. And you give that, and you'll see this is having some syntax highlighting from VS Code. That's because VS Code understood that we are writing CSS code. So in here, just like we did before, we're going to type in background and background dash color, and you're going to name it something that comes in there. So we can see I have my background color as this Alice blue color. So now once I return, it's still going to have the same style even if I refresh. So that is working. The next thing is about the external CSS. So once I show you external CSS, we'll have a dive at the syntax of how CSS works. So let's just get rid of that also, and let's create a CSS file first. So to create a CSS file, all you do is click on this new file button and type in the name for the file. So styles dot, and you give the CSS extension. Make sure you do that, CSS. So VS Code also understands that we're writing a CSS file, and we get this logo. So to get started, we're gonna do the same thing we did on the internal CSS, not the inline CSS, but the internal CSS. So we wrote in body, gave some curly braces, and then we went ahead and typed in the background color of that color which came in there. So now if you go back, nothing is gonna be applied because we did not specify where the HTML file should look for our CSS file. So currently our CSS file is not known to the HTML file where to find, which means our HTML file does not know where the CSS file is. So to link both of them, we use the link tag. It's pretty simple to understand. So you type in link, hit enter, and this is the default one. So it's a style sheet by default. There are different types, so if you just do that and hit Control space, you'll get all these options. So we are gonna have CSS, and it's gonna give this name in here. Ours is not style but styles, so styles.css. And now if you return, we have the color changed. So what happened right now is that the HTML web page got to know where the CSS file is, and it rendered it with the styles. So that was actually simple, right? Of course, these things may not make sense, but the linking thing is actually very simple. We just give where the files located and we link them together. So yeah, that's working. Next, let's have a look at what this means. So this thing right here, which is out of the curly braces, is called a selector. The selector is a part of the CSS file which selects a specific element in our case it's the body tag, and it tells that the body tag should have a background color of Alice blue. So we can make it something else also. Maybe we want the H1s to have a background color of maybe aquamarine. And if you return, you can see that the H1s, so this one and this contact me, which are H1s, are now having that background color. This may not look so nice, but that's how it works. So we can change the background color of specific elements. All you have to do is to select an element. So if you write in H1, it's going to select all the H1 tags. For example, if you write in H2 and return, we don't actually have any H2, so let's see, we have a H5, so let's change it to H5. And yeah, you can see here, I like to code, and it's now in that aquamarine color that we specified in our CSS file. So in order to select a specific element, like we want all the elements on the body tag to have the color of maybe a white, or maybe a background color of blue, or whatever we want to do, we're gonna specify them using the selector. Now, these things that we write inside the curly braces are called properties. So every element has different CSS properties that we can use. So currently we're using this property called background color, which is like we are telling that the background color of this specific element should be aquamarine, which is the color we have specified right here. We can also change it to something like black. We return, it's gonna be black. If I refresh, yes, but we can't read it, of course, so let's keep it the same. And we'll also change the color so that we'll be able to read it again. Anyway, so that is aquamarine as the color, and we're changing the background color. And one important thing in CSS is that you have these semicolons at the end of each property. Don't do it like this at the end of each curly brace. You're gonna do it at the end of each of these properties. So once you specify the property, make sure you have a semicolon at the end. The next property that we're going to have a look at, apart from the background color, is the color property. So if you do color is the property, and we can change the color of our website. I mean, the color of the H5 tag. So maybe we want it to be that color right there. If you return back, okay, that looks kind of like white. So let's make it kind of like a dark red color. And you can see it's updated. If I zoom in, you can see it's that reddish color. So this is the first type of the CSS color type that we're going to have a look at. It's called RGB. It specifies 3 different types of colors: red, green, blue, different values for each color. That's something we might have a look at later. That's a way of specifying custom colors which are not there in default CSS, like this color right here. But let's just turn it back to the color right there, and it's going to be whitish. You can see. Cool, so that's how we change the background color and the color. So now let's have a look at how to make our website, the whole website, implement this. So to make the whole website get the same attributes and same properties, we are gonna have the body selector in there. So the uh, the whole website gets that color as the background color, the bluish color. And of course this does not look readable, so let's change that to black. Let's just select that, and yep, it's black. Now this looks much better than this that comes here. Oops, yeah. So you can see that it's not having any styles at all. It looks like this, and with the help of CSS, we have changed the color of our website. So you can see right now it looks a bit more better. Maybe this color could be a little more lighter. Of course, you could choose whichever color you want to. Yeah, it looks a bit more better. And yeah, so that's how you write CSS in an external file called styles.css. So that's the core basics of CSS, because we're just covering the basics in this video. Soon we'll have more videos covering more advanced features, and right now all we did in this video was to have this link tag to our CSS style sheet file, which is styles.css, and in the styles.css file we selected the body element, so this whole body, and we are gonna give two properties, the background color and the color. And you can find more properties by hitting Control Space. And you can see border, display, all these are different properties. Of course, we won't have a look at all these properties because there are quite a lot. We'll have a look at a few of them. So actually, that was it for this video because I just wanted you to have an introduction to CSS. CSS is very useful. It helps us to change the colors and different attributes of our website. And that was actually it. And make sure you like the video, share, and never forget to subscribe as it encourages me to do more videos like this. And bye guys.